So as many of you guys know, I've gotten an Ender 3 Pro, a really great 3D printer that you should totally check out my review of over here. And I got it about 2 months ago, but in January it didn't really work very often. February it worked a lot better. Which leads me into this video, and probably why you clicked on it, my personal best prints of February 2020. It's a new mini-series I would like to start on the channel where basically I go over the best prints I've printed in that month. That way I can share file ideas with you if you want to print it, and I can just have at least one video every month. But in all seriousness, I think this would be a nice little mini-series. If you would like to see more, be sure to comment that below. Without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so how this video will work, I'll sit here, I might talk about the item. Over here on this side, I'll show off some pictures of the item, maybe some video clips will appear, But let's get started with our first print that I would like to show off because I would like to use it in this video, but as I'm about to show, it's a little too clunky. And that is this 3D printed turntable. Now everything you see here is printed. Everything is printed and it all snaps together very simply, which is nice and all, except it's just a little clunky. It doesn't really run smooth, as you could probably hear. Let me actually get it closer to the mic. I think it would be a really awesome print if I could make it run a lot smoother. Maybe I'd even use it in videos to show off prints like this or other items that I obtain. But for now, I wouldn't recommend actually printing that one out. I recommend just buying a turntable if you really need one for video production, photos, whatever you're using it for. I think it's a nice little print. I think it's really cool that this big middle gear, this middle section, right here under the plate, that's all one print, and then you print the legs and the gears separately. I think that's really cool that all prints at once. But the design, while the design is good, it's not really practical. I'd recommend just buying a metal turntable. And while yeah, I probably could use it in videos that would involve sticking everything down and then unsticking and sticking in, it'd be a big mess. Maybe I could do it, but I'm not going to. I'll probably just show off items in a different way, or maybe I'll buy a turntable in the future. Which, if you want me to do that, you should subscribe so I can get ad revenue. Please subscribe, I want money. The next print I'm showing off is the 3D Benchy boat, probably the most common print out of all of them. You see these all the time in 3D printer reviews and on the internet, and on Thingiverse this thing has like 35,000 downloads or something crazy like that. But yeah, it turned out okay. I'll show it up close in detail so I can, I guess so you guys can see all the mistakes but all the good spots. So overall it's pretty nice, but the layer lines are very obvious, especially on the bottom. And whenever I first took it off the printer, it had a bunch of strings and like loose filament that I didn't really want on it. Overall, it's an alright boat, probably a 6 out of 10. And of course, with some tuning and some changes in the slicer, I can make it print much better, which maybe I will this month at some point. But for now, this is plenty good enough for what I'm doing. I'm just printing models and machines and fun little toys, pretty much. So overall, this boat is pretty cool, but not the most interesting. Next up on today's list, we have probably the most useless print, but also one of the funniest. We have the Certified Bro moment. I know. It's kind of dumb, but it's also kind of funny. Now, as you might be able to see in the close-ups, it's not a good file. There's parts of it that just do not look finished despite the prints being finished. The B is all messed up, and there's a bunch of problems with it. But as you may notice, it's a parody of the Licensed by Nintendo logo that you'll see in their games sometimes, that little golden star up in the corner. Obviously, it's a parody of that. So that's pretty funny. I think it's a funny little item, but pretty useless and more or less just a meme. Moving on to one of my biggest statues that I've ever printed, it is Ultra Swole Pikachu. While this is a really cool statue and really a pretty good file, you can see on the close-up that it's not even close to perfect. It's actually got a lot of flaws. Most notably underneath its triceps, there's just nothing. Like the plastic is all not there. There's a hole, pretty much. But this can be solved by adding more support, which I did not do. I made it so the support was where it was only touching the build plate, and that part of the tricep is not above the build plate. It's actually above the little platform that Pikachu is standing on. So that's my fault. But I think in the future I would print this print with more support and then print it a little slower, despite it adding more time. Overall, I think this was a really good print. It was one of the first prints in February that I finally got to work, and I was so happy about it. Maybe I'll do a story about my stupidness with my Ender 3 at some point, but that's for another video. Anyway, I think the Pikachu turned out pretty well. Its triceps are a little messed up, the area right under its fist is a little messed up, and it's not perfect, but I think it's a fun print. And I'll probably be trying to print this one again to make it look better, but we'll see. Next up is probably my nicest print of the whole month, the one that turned out the absolute best. It is the fish vase. Now this might seem kind of weird, and admittedly, yeah, it is kind of weird. It is 2 fish as a vase, which, yeah, isn't really all that cool. But it's a gift for one of my family members, so hopefully they like it, especially since it turned out so good. There are layer lines, but that's not really the biggest deal in the world. The detail is very, very good, and overall the print feels strong and sturdy and well made. Also, I'm loving this silver metal filament. It looks so good. I think I want to print the Terminator head, but maybe that'll be for next month. I don't know. We're not there yet. Soon enough, we'll have more prints for the March 2020 video, but that's down the road a little ways. We're not going to worry about that right now. But overall, I think the fish vase turned out really nice, and it's probably my cleanest print of the whole month. Next up, we have the Labrador bust. I think this is a really good print, but in the close-up you can see that there are obviously some flaws. I really like this print. It turned out really good, except for a few spots. Underneath its chin, there's a bunch of leftover support that I can't get off because it's just too hard to reach, and I don't want to break the rest of the print. And also, underneath its ear, you can see that it messed up. I think the support fell off, so there's literally nothing for it to print on until a little after. But overall, I think the print turned out really well. It's a little messy around the chin, around the mouth, and on that one ear. But I think it's an adorable print, and I might even do it again. And of course, I could do a black lab. I could do this yellow lab, not the wheat colored filament I have on that lab. Whenever I get brown filament, I could do chocolate. You know, it's all sorts of things like that. But I think it's a really clean print that's very detailed, and I think overall it's one of my favorite prints of the month, despite it really not turning out that perfect. Oh, did I mention that most of my prints didn't really come out perfectly? Because I probably should have said that, because they didn't. Next up is an actually useful print, but so far I haven't really used it much. This is Link's Hylian Shield. Now, it may not seem too interesting or too crazy at first, but if we open it up, you can see that it can hold up to 12 Switch cartridges. 12, that's quite a lot. This is probably my longest print of the month, 3 parts that all took at least 8 hours, which doesn't sound too bad in the realm of 3D printing, but in my world, that's a little long, a little bit of a long time. Overall, I think the print came out well. If I painted it, I think the shield would look so much better, but I don't have the paint to do that. I don't really have the time. And while it is pretty nice that these things do hold Switch cartridges, I actually had to shrink this file by, I think, 0.5% because, no. Wait. Let me get this right. I had to increase the size of the file by 0.5% because it was too small to hold the cartridges, which is a little annoying, but that's also a problem that I might be having on my Ender 3 where it's not dimensionally quite correct. Now that's something I can fix, but maybe I'll do a video on that in the future, I don't know. Regardless, I think this print turned out really well and it fits on the stand really nicely. So, good print. Second to last item, actually 2 items on this list, are the Gear Cube by Emmett and the Cube Heart, or what? Cube Heart? No. The Gear Heart by Emmett. Both by Emmett. Great creator on Thingiverse. I'll leave a link to his stuff in the description because he does such a good job on all of his prints. Now you might be thinking, oh, what's so cool about the Cube Gear? Well, check this out. It spins and goes back into a cube. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's basically a fidget toy, so kind of useless, but I really like it. This one took me so many attempts to print. I actually have a failed version of this print still with me in this bag right here. Now this was before I fixed my slicer for Cura. My printer did not do things correctly. You can see that that's not right at all. It shifted like within the first 3 layers and then did that at the end. And it did that for every single piece in this bag. So let's just say it didn't really work correctly until I fixed it, but when I finally fixed it, the Gear Cube came out really nice. It also spins really smoothly, which can't exactly be said for this Gear Heart, but it's still a pretty nice print overall. If you grab these 2, you can spin it, and it takes a little longer to get back into the original spot, and it's very squeaky, apparently. But yeah, nice little heart. Only problem with this one is for some reason this one part here did not finish, just the top. Everything else printed fine, so it works, but I don't really know why, it just didn't finish correctly. But overall, those are 2 really awesome prints, and probably the most fun that I've had with a 3D print in a while. And finally, the last print of February 2020 that I'll be showing off in this video is one that I'm going to make a separate video on soon. This looks really weird without a light, but this is what I call a lithoplane. Now, I would love to make more videos on lithoplanes soon. Well, at least one. I'll make a video on lithoplane soon enough. Be sure to check that out whenever it comes out soon, hopefully in this month. But basically, it's this big flat image printed out, and the thinner spots are lighter and the thicker spots are darker. So what you do is you put it in front of a window or another bright light, and it makes a cool pattern. Now, it's pretty hard. They look pretty weird without the light, which I'm assuming right now it looks weird in the camera, but I can't tell. And this one is for the Red Dead Redemption 2 cover, a gift I made for Isaac. Anyway, I'd like to show off what this thing looks like with a big light behind it, so I'm going to turn around the camera real fast. I have this big light. Check this out. You can see the pattern. Now, the effect doesn't really work that well on the camera because the light behind it is so bright. But if we move it away, you can see it doesn't work. If we move it back, let's just move it here. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. It has the lighter parts, or the thinner parts of the lithoplane are lighter, and the thicker ones are darker. So you can print really cool images on this. There's a channel called RC Life On that's done multiple videos on lithoplanes that I think are really cool, and you should go check out. Go check out his channel. He's pretty dope. Soon enough, I'll be making more videos on these whenever I print more of them, but for now, this is the only one you get to see. And that is every print I've printed this month. If you liked the video, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. And if you really liked it, be sure to comment below what else I should print for the next month, or just for a separate video if you think you have a really good idea. Soon enough, I will be doing Ender 3 Pro upgrades, but that video will come out later. And it is almost the 2-year anniversary of the channel. March 10th, mark your calendars. Will we do something special on the day of it? I don't know, but it'll be coming sometime in the month of March. Anyway, I'm Callum from CIR Inventions, and I will see you in the next video.